Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. My name is Tatiana Pastrana, and yours is again, I'm sorry.
My name's Chris Rooks.
Chris Brooks. Okay. First question I have for you today is, what is your current job position title? How long have you been in this role?
I am the assistant general manager here, and I've been here for almost a year. Started about a year ago in May, so we're coming up on a year pretty quick here.
Okay. Next question. What degree training do you have in the profession? How long did it take you to complete your degree training?
Well, my degree is actually in social science education, so I'm officially a teacher. However, I've been in the hospitality industry since 2001. I started off as a front desk clerk. I became what's called an operations manager, which is essentially an assistant manager for the brand I was working with, which was Candlewood Suites. I then took on a front office manager role. I've gotten some experience in sales as a director of sales and a sales manager for a period of time with another brand.
Where at?
We're at that was with the Staybridge Suites off International Drive.
Okay, so everything within hotel businesses.
Everything's been with the hotels, and that's how I've gotten to this position. As I just have a pretty long amount of experience at this point in hotels.
Well, I'm sorry to sidetrack on this, but I'm interested in sales as well. I didn't know that you can involve sales with hotel work. I didn't know that.
There's so much stuff that you can do in hotels you won't even believe. In fact, let me tell you, if you get to a full-service hotel like we've got here, you can see we have a restaurant.
Yes.
So there's a whole opportunity in the food and beverage department. You can get to be a food and beverage director. Obviously, we have chefs. There's a whole different side to that. We have meeting space here, and we have a gentleman that works here. He's our banquet and catering director. He books out parties, he books out business meetings, he works with the restaurant to do catering, he works with a linen supply company to make sure we've got like the right linens to match colors for parties.
So I would like to be a CEO. So I've always thought about having a restaurant in my hotel and different things, but so it's multiple different things that can happen at a hotel.
Oh, there's tons of stuff. There's an entire sales department. We've got a director of sales. We've got a sales manager. We've got a sales coordinator who makes sure that the groups and teams that the sales department might book, or blocked out in the right place, have all the collateral that they need, and there's a ton of different things you can get into.
And each of those have several managers, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
And you interviewed every single one of those?
I've interviewed sales directors, and I've not at this particular property, but sales directors and banquet and catering directors, and I've done all of that.
Wow. So I'm gonna go into the next question.
Sure.
All right. How did you land this position? You already told me that. Describe your career and educational path to this current job. We already covered that.
We basically did, yeah.
Yes, we did. What do you enjoy most about your job? What do you least enjoy about your job?
People is the answer to both of those,
Yes.
and I do love meeting people, but you'll find you're very interested in meeting people, finding out what they do. There's a lot of people that come from different backgrounds. When I was down off International Drive, you're talking to people from all over the world, Italy, China, and South America, and it's interesting to just meet them and hear that they're here for the first time ever, and it's an interesting experience with them, and to be a part of making sure they have a great stay.
Right, and of course, being a hotel manager, you have to be a great conversationalist, correct?
Sure, yeah, you have to be able to talk to people, share experiences, make them feel comfortable. One of the first things I tell people working here is to introduce yourself, make yourself a person to them, make sure that you can communicate to them as a real person rather than just like a robot that
actual employee and customer.
Yeah.
Like build a quick relationship.
They can feel comfortable. But at the same time, people can be very demanding as well. Everybody doesn't always react to the same circumstance. So let's say you might have either an issue, or it may not even be a problem, but something that they're requesting. And sometimes somebody might react one way to it, and it's really easy to deal with, and the next person, same exact circumstance, they may react completely differently to it. So you never necessarily know what to expect.
It's unpredictable.
You have to be able to read people very well.
Okay. Oh, wow. Have you ever heard of... He's a magician, and he goes around telling stories about personalities and how you have to be able to analyze people. So his name is Kimura Kasate. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I'm not too familiar with him, so.
I don't think too much people are.
Okay. I'll look him up, though.
I thought about him because he taught me how to analyze people well.
Right.
There's 4 different kind of main personalities, but we'll go over that later. Okay. What advice do you have for students who are interested in pursuing this career?
I would say almost what we've sort of talked about is to get into different things. So start off, front desk is a great position to start off with because you get to work with sales, you get to work with catering, you get to work with food and beverage, you get to work with every different department, accounting, management, you get to work with every housekeeping, maintenance, everything. But then take some time, kind of figure out where you think you might want to explore next. If you think sales is something you're really interested in, then work with your sales director. Make sure you're constantly talking to them. Let them know you're interested in being back there. There might be positions that come open like a sales coordinator. It would be a logical next step from being a front desk person to then being a sales coordinator and working with the sales team. And in that way, you can kind of work up and learn more about a specific department that you want to grow in long term. The other thing is to think about what type of hotel you want to be at. Like, this is a full service hotel. There's hotels that don't have restaurants. There's hotels that are, instead of about 150 rooms like we have, there are 300 rooms. There's hotels that are down off I Drive that are 1,500 rooms. And they operate very, very differently. They have a much different feel, and the size and type of hotel that you want to be at is going to be up to you.
Okay. I would like to be a CEO of something like a Fountain Blue, but I have to start with something smaller before I can jump into.
Well, I wouldn't start too small. It's not necessarily like that. Like, if you start in a very small hotel and you've kind of built your career there, you're not going to be able to jump into a larger hotel.
Okay, so a good place to start is here at the Radisson.
It's not a bad place, and the reason I'd say that is because we've got something like food and beverage. If you, for instance, were to work your career up and become like a manager at a place that didn't have any food and beverage, you're not going to get hired later in your career at a place that does have food and beverage because you don't have that experience.
Okay.
You need to consider that if that's the kind of hotel that you want to grow up and run eventually, that you want to start now at least being involved in it. You're not saying you have to come over here and be a chef, but you at least want to know kind of how the process works and what goes on.
Well, what about, let's say you would like to jump into that and you don't have no experience, and nobody would like to give you that experience. How would you gain that experience in different sections of the hotel if nobody's willing to offer you a position?
Well, I would start off at a hotel at a basic level. Maybe you can only get into the banquet department. But that's not a bad position. You can go in there, you can start off as a banquet setup person, as a banquet server. You can express to the hotel that you want to be involved with the front desk, maybe pick up a couple part-time shifts so that you're working in each department. You got to kind of get in where you can.
And navigate your way through.
Be good at what you do, learn everything about it, and then take your opportunities when they come to grow.
That's what I like to hear.
You're not going to be able to get what you want necessarily, like not right away. Like you've got to build up a good resume, show that you've got the experience that makes you qualified for the next role. For instance, I'm just looking at taking a job as a hotel consultant.
Okay.
Basically, what that is to travel, to go to different hotels, and to evaluate their quality. But in order to do that, you couldn't just step into that. You had to have the experience of working with different varieties of hotels.
Like you have. Because you've been on International Drive and all those other places.
So I've seen a lot of different kinds of hotels.
And a lot of different kinds of people.
A lot of different kinds of people.
And ethnicities and backgrounds and all of that.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's see. From your perspective, what are the problems you see working in this field, if there is any? But I'm pretty sure there has to be one or two.
Just problems in the industry in general?
Well, yes, in hotel management, I would say, alone.
I would say it's, as hotels have grown, there's a lot of discrepancy from one brand to the other as to what types of expectations they want to set for their guests. Meaning, let's look at, I don't know if you're really old enough to remember maybe, but continental breakfast, right? It used to start off as just somebody would walk by and just hang basically a bagel on your door. That was continental breakfast. All right, and you'd have like a little sailed orange juice, but now that's not like that. Guest expectations are to have like kind of a full buffet set up, and it's included. And
with your price for the night.
So you've seen like over a long period of time that expectations, not just with that, but for other things like mattresses, a lot of hotels now have like duvet covers, and instead of just a single, just a single top sheet. So you've seen expectations for different parts of the hotel grow, and so a lot of times it's about managing those expectations of guests.
Keeping up with them.
Yes, because people always want more for their money, and
yes,
you're trying to provide them as much as possible. But I'll just tell you, for instance, carrying like a duvet cover like on a housekeeping cart
Okay.
It's a bigger sheet.
You said it's bigger?
It's bigger, it's thicker, so you can't carry as many of them on
Oh, so it
on the
makes
cart.
it a problem for the housekeepers.
So now you've got to figure out how
to accommodate them.
Yes.
Yes.
So now you've got to figure out how to make that actually happen.
Which is difficult and is a problem.
It can be.
It can be, but you know, with management, and
It's
we'll work around that.
exactly. It's a managerial problem. So everything you add, and a lot of hotels try to add different features to make themselves look better. But then you've got to be able, as a manager, to be able to find a way to actually execute that.
It can be difficult, but with positions, really isn't. I would say a higher level position wouldn't be too difficult.
It can be. Well, it depends. It depends on
all the
maybe
circumstances.
what your budget is to be able to do that, or if you hired the right people. And you've got to be on top of making sure you've got the people and the training to be able to accomplish those different things.
Okay. All right, one more question. No, well, I'll give you one last question. How has your job affected your lifestyle?
That's an interesting one. It never stops.
Never stops?
Hotels never stop.
Well, of
They're
course.
always open. I get calls sometimes at 1 a.m. It doesn't stop. I'll tell you that. So you've got to be aware of that. If you've got things that you know that you're going to do in your life that you want to do outside of just in your social life, then you need to be prepared in advance to make sure that you've got the staff on and that everybody's aware, so that it's well covered. If something happens, you've got the people there who know how to handle any situation. You want to make sure you've trained your staff to be able to take care of it, so that you're not constantly involved in every little thing.
That's all it takes is the proper training and the correct staff.
Proper training,
People that are reliable and dependable. Okay.
reliable people, because like I said, it doesn't stop. Hotel's always open 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's always
You're
open.
working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
You're not working all that time, but you're responsible for it all that
Okay,
time. So
yeah.
you got to make sure you've got the people here that can take care of it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chris, again.
Absolutely.
Talk to him. Okay.